Misfortunes are bound to occur in our lives, but must we remain disabled when misfortunes come our way? Little Zenabu, a 7-year-old girl born to parents Mr. Idrisu and Mahawa, residents of Nyalogo in the Nantong district of Northern Region, with Fulani by tribe. Little Zenabu, at her infant stage, was burnt by hot ashes. This happened at the backside of the parents. Little Zenabu was rushed to the Savilgu hospital, and now she is struggling to at least stand on her feet properly. Sagani News team visited the family at the Nyologo residence. Mr. Idrisu, the father, took us through what happened to the little girl and how it happened.
It happened at the time she was beginning to walk. She followed her colleagues out. They went to the community dam site where there was hot ashes. She fell into the ashes and got herself bent. By the time she was rescued, the legs and the hands already got bent. So from there, we rushed her to the hospital. We even went to Savilgu, and this is her plight now. The wounds got healed in a way, but walking is now very difficult.
I asked him about stigmatization and discrimination, whether the child has ever reported a case of stigma or discrimination by her colleagues in school or within the community. Meanwhile, speaking to little Zenabu off camera, she told me her colleagues in school always beat her and push her down and also call her cripple. But this is what the father has to say.
To play with her colleagues is a big challenge we are facing. The colleagues always beat and push her down. They stigmatize and then discriminate against her. They call her all sorts of names. Names like cripple and others. And the fact that she is Fulani is another issue.
The father's dream is to have little Zenabu become a nurse in future. Reason she attends Nyologo Primary School. She disclosed this when he was asked to make a passionate appeal to the general public to come to the aid of his daughter.
I have given out myself and my daughter to you to find someone to come to our aid. My dream is to make sure I do all I can to ensure that Zenabu becomes a nurse in future. But my inability to be able to get her stand and walk on her feet is a challenge, and I'm calling on people to come to the aid of my daughter.
Mother to little Zenabu, Mahawa, also added her voice by sharing how she felt after receiving the bad news of what happened to her daughter.
I left her and went to fetch water. I came back to meet her in that condition and felt very bad when I saw her as a mother. So I took her to the hospital.
And now speaking to Dr. Robertson, a medical practitioner at the Tamale Teaching Hospital, he took us through damages burns can cause a victim and types of burns we have.
Burns in general have, effects on, the victims, or if you like, the patients. But the complications you can get from burns would largely depend on the type of burns that you sustain. So categorically, there are just 3 types. We have this, superficial burns. We have partial thickness, and then we have a full thickness burn. So that's 1st degree, 2nd degree, and then a 3rd degree. Mostly the very life-changing complications that victims of burns usually sustain, mostly associated with the 3rd degree type of burns. So from the pictures you sent to me and the history you had from the patient, the patient's relatives, that's the father and mother, it appears to me that the patient may have suffered a 3rd degree burn.
But when we asked what should be done on little Zenabu to ensure she regains her feet properly, so as to be able to join her colleagues in class and can also play with them. This is what he has to say.
Contractures. You realize that when you look at the picture, you realize that there's this distortion of the skin. The skin, and it's all matted together. It's fair to look at other causes, because that's why I was quite cautious about us knowing the exact cause of her condition, because it was just based on pictures. We sometimes patient relatives don't give you a true picture of what happened. Leprosy can cause nerve damage, and a picture like that. Like I said, there are a wide list of complications. The physical damage it causes the patient or the victim, and the profound psychological effects. In this case, you have a distraction or distortion of your skin or your body, and you have a contracture. You're unable to move your body as you used to do, and as a child, children do not really understand these things so well, so they see a colleague who looks different from them, and of course they would make fun of her. They would call her names, and because she looks different from them. So for we doctors, before we propose a modality of management or treatment, we have to see the patient. We have to see the patient, take a thorough history, and then examine the patient, and then do a few investigations, and then we can then arrive at a diagnosis. And when we arrive at a diagnosis, every diagnosis has a way of managing it. So based on the diagnosis we arrive at for this patient, the appropriate specialty she has to see is a plastic surgeon. We have a plastic surgeon at TTH. When you sent me the pictures earlier, I spoke with one of them, and they asked that they wanted to see a clearer picture. That was why I asked for a clearer picture, and if possible to see the patient, because they would have to see and make an assessment, because the definitive management for contractures, as it appears she has, is surgery.
Sagani TV is calling on benevolent acts and philanthropists to come to the aid of little Zenabu.